Black America will literally say the absolute most about how bad government is while insisting that we have more government. Like welfarism did this to Black America. It is a fact that in the 1950s, under Jim Crow, that Black Americans were outpacing white Americans in terms of growth. Well, what happened was, despite there being Jim Crow, or because of Jim Crow, Black Americans couldn't rely on government. There is this simple thing that when your back is against the wall, you will fight, you know, like, and so then LBJ, who was the most racist president, I mean, this man was dropping the hard R N word for breakfast every day. He hated Black Americans, and yet we learned in public school that he was our savior because he inked the Civil Rights Bill. But he had to. That wasn't by choice. Literally, he had a figurative gun to his head. And he said, signing this, you know, I'll have these N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And in one fell swoop, he signed welfarism in. And that's what broke down our families. That is the pipeline to prison. Took the Black father out the household. Yes.
This produces a division between Black men and Black women that is going to contribute significantly to, if you want to call it, genocide of Black people. In other words, if you heighten the alienation between Black men and Black women,
harder to organize.
Right. It will. In other words, we talk about unity at a political organization level as being one kind of unity, but there is another kind of unity that is much more fundamental, and that is the unity within the family unit itself. And we have been denied the opportunity to really have functioning family units.
I know when it comes to me, I don't just think about my household. I be thinking like, is my sister cool? Is there, because I'm a big sister too. So I'm thinking like, is there any advice I can give to her? I still think about my grandmother. I still think about my grandparents. I think about keeping all of them together. So that's
Why don't you just have your own family?
Because some women can't have kids, you know, that's just something they can't do.
It's 2025. That's not stopping people from having families.
They just adopt,
Yeah, but that's if they want to. Some people don't want kids, but they do put their energy towards other things in the community and keeping things together. That's why I say I don't just.
Well, can you give me an example of what they do in the community keep the community together? The women that don't have families.
Yeah, I've seen it. Like I've seen. Because
can you give me an example of a woman that's not becoming a wife, becoming?
So, for instance, I have a friend that's currently in school to get her doctorals in psychology. She goes to different schools and she tries. Well, she don't try to. She helped the women understand their role because she studied it. She knows that her mother exudes it. You know what I'm saying? She hasn't found a man for her, but I see her keeping the community together. She's going in and fixing broken homes where they don't have mothers to teach them these things, or they don't know how to get resources to find the men in their life to teach them what they need to know. She goes in and she provides them with those resources. She also keeps companies together. Millionaires hire her to problem solve within that company, to come in and help fix the attitudes of the women who feel like, okay, I have this position, I don't need to listen to this man, or whatever the case is, because she knows about it. That's something she studies. She's keeping that community together. And like I said, that's what I think the job of.
Well, let's see, that example you gave me, you said this woman is going to go get educated so she can come back and help out the people who failed.
Yeah.
So that community, I would argue that is just putting a Band-Aid on, or just
an example,
giving them a resource or something so they can continue to thrive and fail.
Because everybody in our community don't have family. That's part of not an indirect effect of. That's a part of the indirect effect on slavery. That's why they said when they talk about slavery and Black people, they really talk about how they broke up the family. Most people who were in those positions of slavery, they were able to keep their families together. Most of us had to come back and find our families, but because it's so many broken families from slavery, like specifically that, a lot of us, especially in the lower class community, that's contributing to the problems that we're having, the people that's not getting married, the people that's doing the senseless killings, the women that's out here not knowing, understanding their value and exuding masculine traits. We don't have family to go to. And that's why when somebody said it yesterday, speaking from the penthouse, a lot of people speak from the penthouse, but I'm still down here with these people where we lack these resources. But it makes a difference when someone like her comes in and say, hey, I know you lack these resources, but I'm going to tell you how to get these resources. She's going to tell them what type of men they should surround themselves with, men of God. That's what it's important that I feel like when it comes down to a lot of people in the Black community, they kind of get their family together and they forget about the rest of us. And then when we can't come together and make the right decisions on voting policies, they forget that it's not enough of us up there with y'all to help make these votes and these decisions. Nobody's coming back to educate us. Nobody's coming back and having empathy for us.
That's
Nobody's
what I'm
coming
trying
back.
to. That's
And
what I'm
it's not
trying to.
everybody's duty, but there are some women who's not married yet who's actually making that change. They're going into these communities and they're, doing
Well,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Instead of going into the communities to go put band-aids on a failing system, which you call it a community, I don't call that a community. I call that just brokenness. That's just brokenness. This ain't nothing for it. Instead of them going to go waste student loans, we're going to get education and go bring the resource back to that. They should be coming into. They should go up to a man, become a family, and build a community that way. I think that's where they should direct their resources to.
I thought the man do the scouting. She's waiting till she comes across a man who understands her lifestyle, who can understand what she's going through. Not even that. I feel like, because she's always said she want to get married, she want to have kids, she want to do things. For me, I feel like I'm glad I didn't scout when I was in high school, because what if I found a man who didn't understand my purpose? I feel like that's my purpose too. I want to be within the community. So now when I get into my purpose and I'm helping the community, I'm around other men who's like, okay, I like what you're doing. I can lead you into this. I have experience
That's
in this.
failure.
And that's somebody I know I can follow. That's somebody I know that shares the same values and beliefs that I share.
You vetted out your husband early, or you got vetted by a man. You failed when you said that he don't align with your purpose already. He has a purpose that you're supposed to align with. So
but that's the thing. Some women have purposes too. That's what you have to understand. Men is not the only one born with purpose. I definitely have a purpose. I've had pastors tell me
are
this.
you
I have
educating?
pastors let me know
Are
this.
you in charge of a group of women and educating them on these things that we're talking about?
Right now, I'm just part of a parent mentor program. I help the kids. That's something I'm good at. I'm good at nurturing children. So that's what I feel like my purpose is. My purpose is.
So what I would say, I think it's more effective for a woman to position herself under a man's purpose and submit to his purpose.
Yes, and if me and him have the same purpose based on how God has guided me, that's fine. That's the reason why I said I'm gonna be careful what type of. See, that's the issue with some women. They just get with a man with certain money and all this stuff, and then when it's time for him to say, "This is what I want you to do," she's like, "I don't want to do that." Well, did you check that man, his values and what he believes in? If you didn't, and you was only looking at money and his success, you're going to get backlash. You're going to have.
Do you really believe God would guide you to have a purpose that conflicts with the man's purpose that is choosing you to be his wife?
Do you know how many? I told you it was one man offering me a car, and the rest of this other stuff starting with sex just because he wants to lead into that. Any man who just picks me, especially because, like you said, I am at a certain, like, I'm beautiful. I've noticed that I've attracted a lot of men who are not what aligns with my purpose. They just did, especially with the community I'm in.
Let's start here. What is your purpose?
My values. They didn't align with my values. I value the community. I value helping these kids. I value helping people that's at this level. That's what I value. A lot of people where I'm at in this community, they like that nurturing, they like the love, they like the respect. I've noticed I've had effects on children. There's a kid who used to come into the school all the time, getting in trouble every single week. Just by having, when I found out what type of mother he had, all I had to do was tell him, "Hey, I believe in you. I know you messed up last week."
What you're saying is you're a safety net for the failure. When people make poor decisions, your purpose is to be the safety net under them instead of inserting yourself into a family and building a nuclear family, which also becomes an extension of a community. If we can do it at mass. You're saying that and this other woman you spoke about is going to go take resources and go into student loan debt. They'll go have an education to come back and be a pillar of a safety net for failing system.
I believe that God will put a man in my life who can lead me. I believe that. I believe
when a man whose
like I said, the values align with mine. When he sees the work I'm doing, he's going to be like, I can lead her. He's going to see me and know that he can lead me. It's going to take a strong man to do that, but I believe he will be able to. I believe he will see that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What if this man says, hey, look, I understand you out here in the community doing work, but I need you over here. Then what?
If that's the same, if our values align and I prayed on him and this is the man that's going to be my husband, I'm going to listen to him and make sure we get our house straight first. But for right now, I cannot be, based on where I'm at in my community, based on the men I'm surrounded by, I cannot be solely focused on finding a husband, because the quality of men and where
God
I'm
send
at.
you a man, then you're going to reject him. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You said what?
If God send you a man, like you said, you believe God is going to send you a man. If he send you this man and he say, hey, look, I have my own purpose and I have value over here, I need you to attend to. I need you to come over here. And I have to
make sure I can attend to that. He got to set out, like they said, the man's supposed to set out what it is that he needs from me. And if I can give that to him, then yes, I will follow him. But if I cannot give that to him, why would I make that harder on him? That doesn't make sense.
Well, he's just saying, I need you to get away from the community.
That means because every man who chooses a woman don't always choose the right woman. So just because a man chooses me don't mean he's choosing me, then he's aligned with God and everything like that. That doesn't make sense.